which driver should you be playing in 2025? So you'll have seen by now all of my driver reviews, individual product reviews, where I've been through the different tech stories of the different drivers. So today we're doing something different. I've got with me Tom Irwin, the NCG podcast host and just lifetime club golfer, to stand here, hit all the drivers, give me what he thinks and talk about which driver you should play to improve your golf in 2025. Right, Tom, so you're the luckiest man in Orlando right now. So we've got all the new drivers of 2025. So we can talk through them, look at the different models and talk about how we should be picking your driver for this new season.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited because I've been, as you know, working on speed all winter.
Yeah.
So new driver for this year, I think it's going to be the icing on the cake.
So you've currently got a Ping G430 10K driver.
I have, yes. I got fitted for this about 12 months ago.
Yeah.
Have done quite a bit of I'm a lot less fat than I was when I got fitted for it, basically.
So you think you're a bit quicker?
Hoping it to be a bit quicker, yeah.
How have you found it?
Well, it's really comfortable to use.
Yeah.
I kind of went down a shaft when I got fitted for it, so it's a bit lighter than I was in previously. It's a 60 gram, 6.5 hazardous.
Yeah.
Mid-spin.
And that has been like the most popular Ping driver on tour, hasn't it?
Yeah,
because
so
it's like super forgiving, but actually fast as well, performs pretty good.
I think it's the best of a lot of worlds, yeah.
Yeah.
As you can see, I've hit it all over the face.
You've really wear tested that club face, haven't you?
But it's just when you're not playing that often, or when you turn up on a Saturday a bit hungover, this is kind of what you're after.
So you've hit a few with your own, and we've got quite a good amount of data on the TrackMan.
Yeah.
From this driver. So
why don't we start with the other Ping?
Let's just jump straight into the Ping.
Yeah.
So we've got the new G440 here. So it's a very familiar looking driver. We've still got the turbulators. We've got the carbon fly crown now on all the different models, not just the 10K and the LST. We've got this movable weight, which we didn't have on your 10K.
Okay.
And one of the interesting things Ping have done here is they've made the face height shorter, so less tall, which sort of stiffens the face. So what they've been able to do then is thin it out, so it's actually faster. So this is actually a longer driver than we should see than what you had.
I haven't actually seen this yet at all, because you went to
Arizona
on the trip, didn't you?
Yeah, it was amazing.
It does look more compact.
Yeah, so it's a slightly smaller. I think the draw version is bigger. The LST is slightly smaller, but because it's got that carbon fly sort of wrap, it looks better.
The turbulators have been in for 3 or 4 years now.
Yeah, the turbulators have been in for a while. They think that technology is basically as good as they can do at the minute.
Yeah.
And until they come out with something better, they're staying. The other thing they've done in this driver is they've removed a load of mass in the heel.
Okay.
Which actually makes heel strikes perform better and just makes the overall performance a little bit better as well.
Heel strikes performing better sounds good.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a very familiar looking thing from Ping, isn't it?
Yeah,
it does look that little bit more compact. I'd be interested to see what it sounds like, because the acoustics has always been the challenge for Ping, hasn't it?
Yeah, they do say that they've worked on that. Again, they improved it massively from the 425 to the 430, but they have updated that again.
So
that driver is 9.5K MOI.
Is it?
So it's basically the same as what yours is. It's just got a faster face.
Jesus Christ. That came off better.
Yeah.
So go on then, what's that saying?
So it's spinning a little bit low for you, that, Tom. Total 283 is not bad. 105 club head speed is about the same as what you're getting with your own. 156 ball.
Right. It's a bit toey, that strike, wasn't it?
Yeah. I don't think you've quite gone out the middle yet.
No.
I was not convinced you're hitting any of these out the middle.
It's all right. Wow.
Do you want to slow down?
No, I think we should put some more loft on it.
Okay.
That's better.
That's better.
That's spinning a bit more as well.
Definitely spinning. So more loft will give you a bit more spin.
The noise is it is a bit less crushy, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's sort of sweeter.
Yeah, and I think the flight immediately looks way less spinny than yours.
Yeah.
I think the thing with the 10K, although the best driver Ping have made for ages and ages and ages, is you are on that spinny end. Yeah, that's way better.
That was good.
That was good, it. 106 club, 287 total, 158 balls, a bit better. Spins at 2-1. So Ping have forever been on this low and back CG location.
Yeah.
most brands have like they went low and forwards,
Yeah.
and they're now sort of trending back to low and back. But Ping have always been there, so they've always been forgiving. The thing with Ping is, have they like managing the spin? Because low and back generally means more spin. Off the bottom. So I think they've done a really good job with this driver because the spin's pretty good. It looks good and it definitely feels hotter off the face in my opinion than the previous Ping.
I think that this whole thing feels like it's going forwards more than mine.
Yeah.
I would say in a positive way, it sort of feels less pingy than most Pings I've had before, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
It sort of feels like it's moved more towards performance, as in like optimal performance.
Yeah.
I just keep hitting it out with toe. Yeah, I think that is a step on though, isn't it? Because, well, first of all, it sort of appreciates different head shape.
Yep.
But that is offering me a better flight, and I feel like
it's still as forgiving. I think that's the thing. What they want to get out there is, look, it's a hotter face. There's no doubt about that. But they have still got that 9,500 MOI, so it is really, really forgiving.
Yeah, and this is on a 2-year launch cycle, isn't it? I know that Max came out last year, but really it's 2 years since the last iteration of Ping product, isn't it?
Yes.
So I would say that you would expect to see a step forward. So I think the acoustics, from my point of view, and I've paid a lot of Ping drivers,
yeah,
the acoustics are better and it feels faster. Anything else we're seeing is probably user related. Right, let's have a look at the Callaway then, because I went on that trip to Sota Grande.
Yep.
So I have already hit that.
Yep.
And sort of got pretty fond memories of it.
Yeah, yeah. The Callaway driver is really good. So
shall I get it out? Shall I?
Yeah, I'm just.
Okay, you stand there and look at your phone.
No, I'm just trying to update your track, man.
So the first thing you'd say about this new Callaway stuff is the look of it. It's kind of quite a familiar look. It's colours you've seen before in Callaways, isn't it?
Yeah, so very similar to the Epic Flash, that sort of green and white.
Yeah.
And apparently that is because the Epic Flash was a really good driver and they sort of wanted to sort of throw back to that.
Yeah. And it's, I don't know, it's very quiet crown, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know they talked about this new carbon they've got in the crown, which has allowed them, it's even lighter basically, and it's given them more options with weight distribution than ever.
Yeah.
All of these drivers have basically got something that tells you it's carbon, haven't they? This sort of mottled look.
Yeah.
And quite a lot of them have gone for this like matte black front line, which I think is quite a nice alignment aid and quite kind of clean. But it is a very, I don't know what the word to describe it. It's quite a stylish look when you look down on it, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the bottom's the opposite, which is kind of shelf appeal. But I mean, I've never really gone in for that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's also different to the sort of previous Callaway model. It's got that movable weight on the sort of back, where you can sort of tune your ball flight to draw and fade and stuff.
And it's three settings? Because you can adjust lie as well, can't you?
You can do loft, lie, and weight.
Yeah, I think it's no surprise they've gone back to what was it's unbelievably successful club for them, wasn't it? To go back to colours that are familiar to people is not a surprise.
Yeah.
And we've got a stiff
65 gram tensile.
Mitsubishi, so it's a bit heavier and a bit whippier potentially. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that'll do. So Callaway for a long time, you know, their drivers have been fast for ages, haven't they?
Yeah.
Like they're sort of right at the edge of how fast a driver can be. So they're not going to get masses and masses more speed out the club face. So what Callaway are trying to do is actually design a head that it moves through the air quicker, so you can get more club head speed, which then gives you more ball speed on top. So you should, again, this should be quite a fast driver.
Well, I mean, that came off fast, didn't it? So the three things they were telling me was that it's the carbon crown with that more options.
Yeah.
It's more aero, so a bit more speed.
Yeah.
And then more AI points on the face. So
so I think that what they're saying is, although this isn't like a 10K driver, which is like the in vogue thing, with their AI face being sort of so forgiving in so many sweet spots, it sort of, it effectively plays.
Okay. Just to balance things up, that one was out of the toe.
This driver does effectively play as, you know, a 10K plus MOI driver, which, you know, I don't know whether they're talking about that or they're really selling that point, but it's a really interesting one because people are looking for more forgiveness now.
Yeah. And we're right at the limit, aren't we, with everything?
Basically. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like the faces can't get faster. That's what people need to understand. Loving these toe balls. So straight away, what we're seeing here is you're averaging 3 miles an hour club head speed more with this club than you were with either your Ping or the G440.
But that's with a slightly heavier shaft as well.
heavier shaft, but it's just a more aerodynamic head. So like you are going to move the club faster through the air with the same effort. Yeah. So that's the flight, isn't it?
That was interesting because that was not out the middle.
Was it not?
No.
Very straight though, wasn't it? Low spin.
Yeah.
You know, quite a hot ball speed, 158.
Off what, 106?
106, yeah.
107. And sorry,
How does it feel that to you? What does it feel like?
well, some manufacturers are used to a carbon face,
Yeah.
which I think gives you like massive performance out of the middle.
Yeah.
But I think if you end up in the wrong spec for it, it can feel quite harsh.
Yeah.
And I think I'm still someone where acoustics and feel sort of still matter.
Old school.
Yeah, and I think there is something in this AI face, isn't there? Because off-center hits don't feel that bad.
Yes.
But if you are, which is obviously a performance benefit, if you're someone who's looking for feedback, it's often quite difficult to tell.
Yeah.
Because it's obviously helping with ball flight, so the eye test doesn't often help, and you often can't feel which bit of the face it's come out of, which is it's weird.
100%.
Because usually you can call your shot, can't you, from where you've hit it from?
Yeah.
So I think for probably a sort of traditionalist or an older golfer, it might take a bit of getting used to. But the kind of performance benefit is pretty undeniable, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, standing a bit nearer.
Okay.
That was different.
Happier with that shot. Definitely swinging that faster.
Yeah. So that,
which is great.
So
284 total's pretty good, isn't it?
so is into the wind.
Into the draft.
I've not played a Callaway driver, I don't think, ever in my life.
Yep.
I think that, like, the weird thing about all of this is I think that's moved more towards a ping.
Do you?
Yeah, because I think that's probably got more playable than other Callaways I've tried previously.
So Callaway have definitely moved more towards moving the centre of gravity further back.
Yeah, it feels like that.
Which is what, like we said, a very ping thing.
Yeah.
So it is more forgiving. It's probably more spinny, but faster. It's like faster but more spinny, which is exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah.
When I tested these in La Cala, what I found was that was actually the fastest and best head for me, as opposed to the triple diamond or the draw.
That was nutty.
Yeah.
But I mean, again,
It's not very. It's like it just needs more spin, that flight, doesn't it?
I couldn't tell you what bit of the face that came out of.
The carbon. I mean, the carbon in the head does numb the feel, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But that was a 160 ball speed,
Right.
285 again, 107 club.
I think that was quite high on the face.
Yeah. Right.
So I think that's working pretty well on off-centre hits.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's what I'd say about it.
Yeah. No, it's a good driver, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's move on. Should we hit the Titleist now?
Oh yeah, I would like to hit the Titleist actually. It's so long since I've played any Titleist equipment apart from my Scotty. And I used to have like 915s, 915D,
Okay.
and use that to like quite good effect.
So, I mean, sex appeal
Jesus Christ, it looks good, doesn't it?
with that driver is outrageous, isn't it?
I'm not sure I'd really go for sex appeal to describe a golf club, mind. It does look good though,
So,
without wanting to get weird about it.
one of the Titleists are really, really proud of the fact that they had so many non-contracted tour players using that driver.
Yeah.
So this obviously came out last year. It's not like new for 2025. This came out in summer in 24.
So who uses it then? JT?
Yeah, Aberg
Right.
hits driver pretty good.
So all cool players as well?
All the cool players use the Titleist. Adam Scott.
Oh God, it looks good, doesn't it?
So that's the GT3. So that's like the slightly smaller, more compact head than the GT2 or the GT1.
And it is a different finish.
So the interesting tech with this driver is Titleist have actually developed their own material for the crown. So it is a carbon, but it's completely developed by themselves.
Right.
So it's super, super light. And again, what they've done is they're moving the weight sort of low and back into a more playable spot. So it is, so it's fast but forgiving.
And this shaft is the same weight as one in the Callaway, but it's one stiffer.
Yeah, so this is a tenside blue, not a tenside black.
Yeah.
And the tenside black is a lower spinner.
Got you.
That's the shaft that I was fit for.
Yeah.
So, and it also has like this sort of sole
that's
plate
funky, isn't it?
where what you can do is lift the sole plate and move the weight around to, again, sort of for your toe strikes or your heel strikes.
That is super stylish, isn't it?
Yeah. No. The Titleists do a great job, don't they, of like keeping it cool.
You'd have to say that's winning quite a lot of best in show awards, isn't it?
You take it to Crufts.
Yeah.
Win best looking driver.
Please work.
Oof.
Oh, it's worked.
Hello. I'll do.
So Titleist,
How did that feel?
it felt good. It's better high on the face again. Titleist, I think, would say themselves that they kind of got left behind a bit in the distance race, didn't they?
I don't know whether they'd mention that, or they might do now.
Yeah, they would, yeah.
But certainly the last two drivers have been really, really good. This GT3 is definitely a step up from the TSR, because I did have the TSR2 for a bit. And I just love the way this feels. You know, the way it looks, I mean, it looks great. But we can't talk about that forever.
Oh, Jesus, that felt good.
So I think...
That's got quite a...
Yeah, it's good.
It's got a solid feel, and it's also got, like, quite a traditional sort of... Like, it feels like a driver.
Yeah. So you're at 158 there. 247 carry, 287 total.
What club speed?
At 106.
So that's similar to the Callaway.
So what I really like about the Titleist, and I think a lot of golfers will like this as well, is that head is like full of brand new tech, but they hide it very nicely.
Yeah.
So where other brands have like chosen to sort of have the tech on the outside where you can see it.
Yeah.
Titleist, because they're sort of they're for the dedicated player. I think they sort of like, they don't want to say it out loud, but they're for the traditional player. They've sort of masked all the tech in that brilliant looking head.
That was toe.
And
that's gone pretty well.
So that's like that's a 10.5 head.
Yeah.
And that's lofting up way better. It's like launching much higher for you, that, isn't it, than the previous
It's a 10
two.
head.
It's a 10. Okay.
Yeah. And it's in neutral, so presumably it is at 10. Yeah, it's A1. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that looks mint, and I would.
So that's definitely launching better for you. The flight's better than the previous drivers, isn't it? It's like it's more up in the air. It's still relatively hot.
Like I'd say, it's a decade since I've had a Titleist driver, and that is money, in it.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we need to hit any more of those.
Liking that a lot.
Yeah. So that is like, there's a lot of technology in the face. So like the variable thickness of the face is really good on that driver. Like the aerodynamics are really good.
You can sort of see where, because this was basically not hit. So I've hit all of those, like there.
Yeah.
And that is coming off really well. Even the face looks pretty cool, doesn't it?
So they were like reasonable hits, but actually the flights were very similar.
Yeah.
And they've all sort of landed in the same place as well. So Titleist is sort of a real winner for you there, aren't they? So far.
That's a surprise to me. That was good. Really good. Right. Cobra. Shall I look at Cobra?
Yeah, let's do Cobra, yeah.
So I haven't been on the Cobra trip, but I did go and see. That's very good.
Great head cover game.
Yeah.
They've done a good job with that.
That's proper boxing glove stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. So the Cobra DS Adapt.
Yeah, so neither of us went on the press trip for this. Max went, didn't he?
Yep.
But I have been over to Cobra's new Manchester office, or not new, but their office in Manchester to meet their marketing guy.
Yep.
So I've had the presentation. They've got this amazing fitting wheel, which presumably
brilliant.
Our video editor will now be putting on the screen.
Yep.
Which gives you like just this absolutely bonkers number of fitting options.
So 33 different options just on the loft sleeve.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
So their whole thing is like, the whole story is a fitting story basically, isn't it?
Yep. There is some good technology in the head. Like it's a good techie head, but I think they're really going deep on the fitting story.
Yeah, and I remember like 2 years ago when we went out to Portugal to test drivers for the week, that the Cobra was like so fast comparatively
the
to anything else.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
And it's normally coming in at kind of 50 quid cheaper from an RRP point of view.
That's correct. Yeah.
So I just think that there are certain people who this is like, if you're looking for something hot and like budget is a consideration, then Cobra's always worth trying. And that fitting thing presumably should help.
I think Cobra are definitely a brand where, like, if you went to a Cobra fitting, you would definitely leave with a driver that was like perfect for you. There's no compromise in the custom fitting, is there? Because there's 4 different heads.
Yeah.
There's 33 head loft sleeve options per club.
Yeah.
And actually, what's really cool on this one is there's a heavyweight and a back weight that you can flip around depending on whether you want the CG low and forwards or you want it further back for it to be more forgiving.
Yeah.
There's masses and masses of carbon on this head.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like super light, which means the center of gravity is really, really low.
And it's got a QR code.
And it's got a QR code, and that's for fitting.
Yeah,
so,
it flashes up the wheel.
Yeah, it flashes up the wheel. So what you could do, if for some reason you didn't get custom fit, which is not recommended, you can like
do it yourself.
DIY it, yeah.
So this has got a 6.0
Project X Denali, yeah.
Right. So it should be similar, shouldn't it?
Very similar.
It's another one. I'll tell you what, like
It's a great look, isn't it?
Everyone's gone clean, haven't they?
Yeah.
And simple.
Yeah.
If you go back to I don't know, like Sims and stuff in TaylorMade, they were like way jazzy, weren't they?
Yeah.
And like white heads and stuff. But then there's another one with this carbon crown, which is this mottled thing, so you can see it's carbon, and another clean black line at the front, like the little Cobra symbol as the liner paid.
Yeah.
It's nice.
And interestingly, what they've done on the face on this one is Ricky Fowler went through a phase of drawing lines down the face so that he knew he was lining it up in the middle.
Oh, yeah.
So like the Cobra have included that in the design.
Yeah, that is cool.
Which is great.
Nice story, that. Who told you that, Max? Right. We're expecting something fast.
This is going to be good. Oh, yes.
That's launched, hasn't it?
Yeah, that was cool. That'll do. That was lovely.
Spinny.
How did that feel?
Felt good. I think it definitely spinning a bit more. So this is 10.5 A1s. This is lofted at 10.5.
Yep.
So it's kind of got a little bit more loft on it than that Titleist had. So I guess
that one spun at 1900, so not very spinny.
Not very spinny.
287 totals, pretty good.
Launched pretty high then.
Launched at 13.
That's about right, isn't it?
Which is about right, yeah.
That was better. That's more what I want to see. That, I think, was toey.
Bit of a flatter launch. It's a good chase out there, that one, though, isn't it?
Loving these toe strikes.
Yeah, spin rate came down a bit there. 1700. Club 107. Ball speed 158.
Right.
280 total. But we could stand there and adjust this all day.
I know, that is strange, isn't it?
Which is like the sort of fun of this driver.
Have you got an adjuster thinger?
Yeah, I've got one in my pocket, yeah.
Should we try it?
Yeah.
Right, so what we're expecting now is more spin.
Better strikes, more spin.
Better strike. I do like what it looks like.
Looks great, doesn't it?
Yeah. I quite like you can see the white lines on the face, actually.
Ricky Fowler.
Oh, wow.
There you go. Beauty. Could be in the bag, that, couldn't it?
That was good, wasn't it?
That was pretty nice.
Still down the toe.
290 total, though, on that one. Second longest hit of the day.
What sort of club head speed was that?
109.
Ooh.
So that might be the fastest swing. 161 ball.
Right.
Definitely fastest ball speed, that one.
Hell, that is good.
Can't include that word. Apologies to the kids and the women at home.
You can bleep that out. The noise. The noise.
109, 162, 285.
You have to say...
It's great, isn't it, that driver?
You have to say that the acoustic on that is, like...
Really good.
Yeah.
It sounds like almost like a gunshot. I think.
Does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's like a real crack of something.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it helps when you find the middle of the face.
And I suppose I've gone up a mile or two. Jesus. And that was toey.
Yeah, not a great strike, that one.
No, but
what does it feel? Does it feel like that's it? Like, so sometimes, like in the old drivers, if you hit a toey ball, then you would find, or you would know that the ball would like come off terribly. And
yeah.
so, what do those poor strikes feel like to you?
They just feel like centre strikes.
Really?
Yeah, I can't tell. Can I tell? I think you can a little bit, maybe, but I think it's more about the club twist in your hands that's telling you that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily to do with how it's feeling off the face, as in the...
Right. One more, then we'll move on.
I mean, that is just mega, isn't it?
Cobra's a winner. More people need to get out and try Cobra, don't they?
Well, I was chatting to my mate who's a pro, who doesn't stock it, and I was saying, for the money and for how fast they are, like, I can't imagine if you could get people to try them, I think you'd sell them. But golfers are snobs, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. People don't look much past Ping, TaylorMade, Callaway and Titleist, which is wrong because there's so much other good stuff out there.
Yeah, that is decent.
Yeah. Right. Let's do Srixon.
Right, okay. So, I mean, I'm going to tell you now, I think I've literally never hit a Srixon driver.
Okay. Well, I think you like this. There's some good tech in this. Srixon are definitely up in their game. So they've obviously got like a rep for being brilliant irons, haven't they?
Yeah.
And drivers have sort of been lacking behind. But in the last three sort of editions, the Srixons have improved massively.
Yeah.
So this driver, I think, is a real high performer. So we've got it similar to sort of all the other stuff with all the other drivers. We've got the carbon crown. We've got two different weight adjustments on the bottom to sort of correct your draw or your slice.
Yeah.
Something they've got on here is almost like a milled face, which they say is going to help with, you know, when it's raining.
Right.
And you sort of...
I do know when it's raining, yeah.
When it rains and you don't get any spin off your driver.
Yeah, is that sometimes good though for a bit of ball speed?
No, because it doesn't get in the air.
Okay.
So like that's to help with that.
Mm-hmm.
This iFlex face.
Okay.
It's
a very pear-shaped head, isn't it?
Yeah, so there's 3 different models, again, like all the other brands. There's a smaller, sort of more compact Brooks Koepka driver, low spin number. There's a drawer and there's a standard.
And this is the standard?
This is the standard, yeah.
Again, it's got this mottled crown it's kind of got this less abrupt front line, which just more sort of fades out.
It sort of rolls into the face, which I think is quite nice.
It's quite a nice looking thing. That rolling into the face, good way of describing it. The face almost feels...
Yeah.
Right, okay, let's see what we think. And we've got I like a Ventus.
Yep.
6S. So that's going to be... That's quite
similar,
light.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Good hit. So this sounds much more like your old classic driver because it's a full titanium head.
Yeah.
How did that feel?
What a surprise. It's come out slightly out of the high toe. That felt very different, I would say, from quite a lot of the others.
Very different.
Yeah, it kind of almost feels... I don't know, how did it perform? Because it kind of feels like it's...
So that wasn't particularly fast, 155 ball, 105 club.
Yeah.
It's very high pitch, isn't it?
It is very high pitch, and it kind of... It feels how it sounds. It's not coming off as solid.
It's definitely, yes. I think that. So when I hit this, so one of the things I think with the carbon in these new drivers is it's allowed them to add more weight elsewhere.
Yeah.
And what that does is it makes the strikes feel really, really solid. Like it's almost like chunky and meaty. But that doesn't. It's almost like, it's not like, I don't want to say tinny because I think that's a bad word, but it sort of feels, that is the word you want to use with it.
It feels like a lighter thing.
It's a lighter head.
Everything's lighter.
Yes.
Like it's a lighter strike.
Correct, yeah, correct. That's exactly what I said when I tested it in Spain.
I don't have the right words to...
So, but saying that was a 160 ball speed.
Was it?
Yeah. Bit blocked.
It's woken that lesson up, hasn't it?
So that was, but you're saying that, so that was 285 total.
Right.
So like, I know so one of the things I thought when I was swinging that club is I actually felt like I could swing it a bit quicker.
Really?
Because it's lighter.
But I feel like I don't want to because I feel like I might lose it. Right.
I sort of stood there and felt like I could give it a bit of a thrash because the whole system felt lighter.
Mm-hmm. So I've tried to hit that really hard.
Okay, didn't have to do that.
So who are they pointing this club at?
That's for the everyman.
Right.
So they've also, this year Srixon have sort of moved into this variable thickness face. So like it should be fairly forgiving off all sort of hits.
Mm-hmm.
This is the top.
Yeah.
Don't like that, do you?
I'm not sure the shaft's helping me either. I think the shaft's a bit light for me, which means the club's head's all over the show. But the speed is decent, isn't it?
The ball speed off the face is good, even though the system feels light.
Yeah. It's a better one.
Yeah, good hit.
Yeah, I think sort of smoothing it out is helping rather than trying to hit it.
So that might just be a shaft issue then.
Yeah, but I feel like that's something I want to kind of caress rather than wallop.
Yeah.
Whereas this sort of Cobra, I really wanted to...
It's definitely not the fastest off the face, that driver. But I think it looks good, and the flight it gives is really good. And I do think there's like there are golfers out there who don't want the carbon.
I can feel like it's going to be a more traditional sort of flight, yeah.
And it's definitely a traditional sound, isn't it? It sounds like drivers used to sound because it's like a full titanium head.
Yeah, I feel like that's something I would give to like a mid-handicapper more.
Okay.
And I do think as from when I first picked it up, I think it looks better now, having hit a few shots with it than it did before.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't look like the others, does it? In terms of that black line.
No. It's definitely different.
Yeah.
But again, I think it's worth testing and worth getting fit into with the right shaft because it is a decent head. It's cheaper.
Yeah.
Right. Wilson.
So we've got Wilson and TaylorMade left.
Wilson and TaylorMade. We're going to save TaylorMade till last.
Looks like that's what we're doing, doesn't it?
Let's move into the Wilson. So this is the second edition of the Dynapower.
That definitely says carbon.
So this one's definitely, so there's 3 models this year instead of 2, which there was last time. We've got the Dynapower Carbon, we've got a low spin, and then we've got a max. This is, again, we're seeing more of these drivers with the 2 adjustable weights that you can flip depending on whether you want high spin, low spin, or whatever. This one's set at 9. This is a great shape. I mean, Wilson are killing it in terms of like driver design, in my opinion.
Oh, it's got to go faster, strike.
Yeah, it's very cool.
So that's interesting because that other brands have kind of moved away from that.
Yeah, they're trying to make the heads cleaner. So I think this is pretty good in terms of like, it's got the carbon crown.
What a surprise.
It's got that top line that you quite like, the little alignment aid on the top.
Yeah.
But this has like quite a nice little red accent on the back there.
It's like a hybrid, best of everything, isn't it? Because that's very reminiscent of that Cobra thing. And the Callaway is very Wilson, isn't it?
Yeah, very Wilson, yeah.
Yeah. And we've got
another Denali
6 again. Does look cool.
Yeah.
It sort of looks like, you know, when you were a kid and you had a picture of like a Ferrari in a black frame in your bedroom. It looks like one of them. It looks like it wants to go fast. I like how it sits.
Yeah.
Feels light again.
Yep.
Yeah. So this again will be a titanium face with it.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's also sort of slightly higher pitch sound, isn't it?
Yes.
It's quite clicky though.
You think?
Yeah. I quite like the sound actually. Wow.
The Wilson I thought was quite interesting to test because their low spin was like extremely low spin.
Yeah.
But they've also got like a full titanium head as well, which is a little bit cheaper, more forgiving. Just cannot hit this one.
Yeah, I don't mind it though. As in, I think it looks pretty. I think it looks pretty good. It's just that sort of lightness, which I think I felt in the Srixon as well. It just
light in the head.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel like. Doesn't feel like I have to. It feels like it wants me to sort of caress it, like that. I think.
It's very flat.
Yeah, it's flat. So it's 9.
Club speed is 103 now.
Yeah, I'm trying to do that.
263, 2000 spin. Do you want to loft it up?
Yeah, loft it up. Right, so now got a bit more loft.
Loads more loft.
Okay.
Masses of loft now.
That's come out better.
Yep.
Bit more flight.
Nicer flight on that one.
Yeah, it's more solid hit as well, actually. That felt better. You'd have to say there's an awful lot of technology in that.
Yeah.
And an awful lot of features that you find in other more expensive products.
100%, yeah. Wilson are like, they're sneaky in that there's a lot of tech in it. And actually, the centre hits are really good.
Yeah.
There's 3 different drivers for 3 different players.
Yeah.
Wilson need to get the club in people's hands because when people hit it, they go, oh yeah, that's actually pretty good. But generally, I think people are turned off a little bit because it's cheaper, which is weird. Mm-hmm. And people, like you say, they usually just go, well, can I have the Callaway, please? Or give me the TaylorMade, as opposed to...
So I think that, with the right shaft in it, and that on that one centre strike, it came off really nice.
And it's a great shape, isn't it? Like, it looks good.
And is that lambkin grip standard?
Yeah.
So that's...
pretty nice.
15 quid's worth on its own, isn't it?
Yeah. Right.
Decent. Right, come on, give me the TaylorMade.
So, this is it.
So, I had a TaylorMade, I had a Sim 2, I had a Stealth 2.
Yep.
And then I've sort of I went to that Ping 10K Max.
You moved away. You didn't even use the QI10, did you?
Didn't even use it. I didn't get QI10, no. So that is a jazzy head, isn't it? Jazzy.
There's loads to talk about with this driver, right?
Grey, mottled.
So what they've done is they've tried to take in some design concepts from like Lamborghini.
Right.
And other like fighter jets. Because what they wanted to do is they wanted to make it look fast whilst it's standing still. Was the design brief.
Yeah.
So this driver is like extremely aerodynamic, like more than TaylorMade have ever had a driver before. This is the low spin head, so it's smaller, more compact. The standard head this year has actually gotten bigger in profile, closer to sort of like the 10K Max sort of thing.
And this is what you've been fitted for?
So this is my baby, yeah. So it's got 3 adjustable weight ports, so you can sort of move the weights around. This is in like crazy fast setting, sort of the heaviest weight in low toe.
Okay.
It's the fastest setting they've got.
Sounds good. And have these got some secret club fitter only fitting?
So one of the things they've got, TaylorMade have done this year, they've worked with the likes of Trackman and Foresight, and they don't have it on this head, but on the fitting heads they've got I've got a sticker on here.
Yeah.
They've got the sort of the reflective markers built into the face.
Got you.
So getting fit for a TaylorMade driver should be quicker and more efficient than ever before.
Got you.
Because they're sort of, one of the things TaylorMade are measuring in their fittings now is closure rate, which massively massively affects what shaft you put in and which head's sort of suitable for you.
When we went to Carlsbad, that guy it was all about delivery.
And I don't believe there's other brands talking about closure rate.
Yeah. TaylorMade have never been shy about telling you their fitting stories. You know, on the loft up, famously.
Loft up, yeah. Then loft down.
Yeah. It's a cool looking head, isn't it?
Yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah.
Like, as in, they've got this funky mottled pattern on it in grey.
You can really see it. So they call that the carbon infinity crown, because there's no seams.
Okay, but it is actually quite a traditional shape.
Very traditional. Because it's the low spin head, right? Like so like when you've got McElroy and Scheffler using that shape, you don't change it.
No, true say. And I quite like the little white TaylorMade symbol. Ventus.
Proper shaft that. Right. Ventus, red, 6X.
It's like an old friend.
Yep.
Jesus Christ.
There you go. TaylorMade they're moving back towards moving the weight and the centre of gravity low and further back.
That's the first one that's gone up and forwards, I would say.
So decent ball speed, very straight. So what they've done is they're talking about CG projection.
Right.
So basically they're trying to move it's not quite the sweet spot, but the CG projection lower on the face, so that there's more of the face that launches high with low spin, whilst keeping it forgiving.
That's what it felt like. Yeah. It launched high.
High, low spin. Yeah. And it's obviously got a carbon face. Now, I think the carbon face takes a bit of getting used to, personally.
Well, I've found that in the past with carbon faces, that I feel like every time I go and get fitted for a driver, TaylorMade is just like, why wouldn't you buy a TaylorMade? Because the best shot with the TaylorMade is always the best shot of the day.
100%, yeah.
And then sometimes you think, it's a bit harsh off-centre hits.
Yeah. So I think that's improved, though. Yeah. On this driver specifically, I think actually it is really, really impressive.
Right, that was off-centre.
That was a middle hit, was it?
No, it was off-centre.
Off-centre.
That's come out at the top of it.
Yeah. So that's like TaylorMade's like almost sweet spot now, is they sort of think that a higher face strike, it's a bit higher up there.
Yeah.
But your performance is still good, still 275 there.
Yeah.
And like so what I found when using this driver is that not only is it like I can swing that driver faster than any of the other drivers, but like my miss hits still go very straight.
Where's that gone?
Low left.
Right, it's like so far at the bottom. Slow, 108 that.
108 club, 159 ball, just launched.
What, off that?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. Oh, it's super fast, this driver. So one of the reason it's not called like the QI15 is because they think it's way better than that. Like they think it's a genuine jump forwards.
Jesus, wet.
It
feels like it's making me swing.
Yeah. I think that as well. So that was the fastest swing speed you've done today, 110. 164 ball, fastest ball speed. Just launching a bit low, that.
It's pretty amazing. I've stood here and hit 50 shots or whatever, and that's my fastest swing.
Yeah. And I think that's the aerodynamics. Like there's a lot going on the sole in terms of the shaping and the design. But so that was your best swing by miles. It just launched a bit flat.
That's out the bottom.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel as harsh.
No.
Out of miss hits.
It's improved a lot, hasn't it? Like the off-centre strikes in the TaylorMade. And I think that's what the big jump to the QI10 was way more forgiving. And then this again is more forgiving but faster.
Might be at the bottom, so I teed it up so low.
You're sort of jumping at it now as well. It's a bit like the Cobra. Cobra had a similar effect on you, didn't it?
Yeah.
You wanted to hit the Cobra.
So that was out the bottom out of the neck on it.
Yeah, still, see, that's a 161 ball off a bad strike, 285 total. Yeah. Like, it's like comedy, isn't it?
That's nuts, because I mean, I think that came out of like here.
Yeah, you've almost missed it. Right, one more, Tom, because we'll stand here all day.
Yeah, but this makes you want to.
You want it? Oh, no. Hook.
Quick though, I bet.
109. So highest average club speed.
Yeah.
Highest average ball speed.
I mean, all of these brands, don't they have low spin heads, middle heads, and max heads.
Yep.
They're all called different things, but that's basically what they do it.
Yep.
And what we are seeing is that the low spin, more aero heads are quicker, aren't they?
Correct.
That's undeniable, isn't it?
Undeniable.
But I would say equally, you're seeing a kind of off slower swing speeds with that ping. You are seeing that sort of like rainbow flight, and you would see it in the TaylorMade max equivalent, and you would get faster speeds with the LS in that.
Yeah.
But it is an interesting comparison, because I think as much as it's head shape, it's also a little bit about the focus of what the clubs are trying to do, doesn't it? That is definitely trying to go quick, and that is definitely trying to help you.
The Cobra was your fastest.
Yeah.
The TaylorMade was just behind.
Yeah.
The Cobra had the longest hit. Probably the most forgiving, I would say, of all those shots was the ping.
Yeah.
Certainly the best off centre hits. So for me, I think if you were going to turn up half drunk after a big night out,
Haven't had a drink for 6 months, but yeah.
but the viewer might. The ping's the one you want.
Yeah.
Is where I stand with that. Is like, I feel like I could swing that half asleep and still get reasonable distance, but hit a lot of fairways.
Yeah. I just think that is the ping story, isn't it?
Yeah.
Playing once a week, not in any balls, turn up late. What do you want to get out? You want to get a ping out.
You definitely want a ping. For me personally, if I was like a golfer who hits the centre of the face fairly regularly and with decent speed, and all I'm interested in is more distance, I grabbed the TaylorMade.
Yeah.
So the low spin TaylorMade. I think the Cobra, if you were fit into the low spin head with the right shaft, you might get basically the same. But that is a really, really well optimized driver. Because it does, in my opinion, offer quite a good amount of forgiveness on off centre, even though it's really fast out the middle.
It feels like a properly built golf club. Like occasionally you get like iterations of even the big brands driver, and you think, well, it's a bit like a Tonka toy, as in it's all gizmos and jazzy stuff. Whereas that feels like the engineering's gone into performance. I think that is a proper step forward, isn't it?
Definitely.
Like if what you're saying about TaylorMade is every time you go for a fitting, the TaylorMade always outperforms, and then when you take it home, you're a bit like, oh, I don't remember this.
Yeah.
I feel like that wasn't as harsh and off-centre hits as previous TaylorMade drivers I had, and like the performance was kind of gobsmacking, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because you've talked about the Cobra. I think that, again, for me, like I have said this to people, it is a little bit cheaper. It is definitely fast, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
They've obviously now got this fitting story, and that is the whole thing about this. Like, we've done in-depth videos on all these products that Jack's done with product that he's been fitted for, optimised for him, and that's where we're really kind of, I guess, getting more deeply into the performance when a driver has been optimised. And this has more been about trying to get a kind of a brush across the top of a lot of these things to give you an idea about what you might want to look at further. And getting fitted for that Cobra feels like it would reap a lot of benefits, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. 100%. It's a great head.
Yeah.
So I think the best all-rounder is probably the Titleist. And I think the Titleist, is they're aiming at a different person, if you like.
Yeah.
I think it's a golfer who like cares about what it looks like. You know, they're conscious about sort of visuals. That's like the cleanest head out of all of them, isn't it? And it's classic because it's a gloss finish, which there isn't actually a lot of that in 2025. I think the ball speed numbers are really good. I actually think it's quite forgiving for what is a smaller profile driver. And it was a real toss-up for me in the TaylorMade versus Titleist video as to what I thought I would game this year. Yeah. Because my performance off that was really, really consistent. Yeah. But it just wasn't quite as long for me as the TaylorMade.
I mean, just sitting there next to these others, it is a beautiful looking thing, isn't it? And the fact it's got that shiny crown as opposed to the matte finish is definitely sort of helping that. it's very hard to put down, isn't it? 'Cause you just keep looking at it. And even the stuff on the sole, I really like the way they've dealt with this tech.
Yep.
And was like stunned by the performance of it.
Yeah.
Speed and
Launched nicely, didn't it?
it did, yeah. And again, like a lot of this will be down to shaft and head combinations for me as an individual on the day, but that did feel good. And I'd be very tempted to go and try that again, I think.
Yeah.
Decent.
The Callaway's a great driver.
Well, that made me make a funny noise, didn't it, when I hit it? So it must have been good.
Yeah.
It is the jazziest, isn't it, of the sort of top brands?
Yeah, there's a lot going on in terms of design, like visuals and stuff like that. The crown's pretty funky. The sole there's a lot going on the sole.
The marketing story is good, right? They're very clear about what they're telling us. It's more aero, it's got more AI points, the crown's lighter, which means that the MOI's moved back.
And all the Callaway guys have moved straight into that driver.
Which is a big tell.
Which is a huge tell that it's better.
Good acoustics.
Yeah, no, the Callaway's a good performer.
Performance good. Do you know, look at the shape of it. Just sitting it there, it is a bit, what's the one that Mickelson used to win a lot with? Like it is sort of almost, it's not obviously not square.
It's almost square, yeah.
But you know what I mean? There's a bit of that.
Yeah, I think that's just them trying to get like maximum forgiveness and trying to get his weight as far away from the face as possible. They do have like the triple diamond, their low spin head looks a lot more like the Titleist.
You know, when I was saying when I was hitting them that I thought the Callaway had moved nearer the ping and the ping had moved nearer the Callaway. It's no surprise, is it? I do think that they are actually performing quite close to each other.
Pretty similar, yeah. The Callaway's really good.
Yeah, and then we had these kind of two outliers, I guess, certainly from my perspective. I don't think I've ever hit a Wilson or a Srixon driver before.
Yep.
The Wilson kind of looks like these, doesn't it, in terms of it's got the model carbon crown, it's got that black line, so it's kind of doing a good job of being part of the family, and it's a totally different price point, isn't it?
Yes, definitely cheaper. It is more expensive than Wilson have been, but it is still more budget friendly than all the others.
But it's got, I mean, on paper, it's got so many of the things that the other drivers have got.
That sort of looks to me very much like last year's Callaway.
Yeah.
In terms of like the whole design, all the tech, it's very, very similar.
Yeah.
It's a really high performing driver.
Yeah.
And it's like, again, it's like massively budget friendly. So if you're looking for a new driver, you don't want to break the bank, then that's really what you got to go and try. The Srixon is like, it's a full titanium, so it's like massively different to all of these, which all have carbon in them.
Yeah.
I like this driver. You know, this performed well. It's quite low spinning, so like my total distance numbers were really good with it. Yeah. It's just so different to those others in terms of feel and sound.
Yeah.
That again, it will appeal to a different sort of player.
Yeah, yeah. So I think what I'd be saying is that in terms of the main brands, and I'm going to include Cobra in that, like you're compromising on less, I think, than you ever have done.
Yep.
So if you're sort of using the Ping TaylorMade comparison as we have done a little bit, you always feel like you were compromising on ball speed a little bit with Ping, but you're getting loads of forgiveness.
Yeah.
And I think that's less so now. You're getting more ball speed and you still got the forgiveness. And Callaway and TaylorMade have always been at the other end of that story. And it feels like they've, if anything, moved the speed on, and not, certainly in the case of TaylorMade, have moved the speed on and they've improved the forgiveness. So I think you're making less compromises, fewer compromises. And in the case of Titleist, they've always made great looking golf clubs.
Yes.
And you've always just had that kind of like, is it helping me enough? But that definitely is, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think I'm right in saying that's again, they're on a 2-year cycle, aren't they?
Yes.
Ping's on a 2-year cycle. So it's no surprise really that we've seen this big step forward from those two brands because it's so long since the last product.
Yep.
And you'd imagine the others know that's happening, so they need to bring out something competitive in that year. So I think it's a good year to be changing driver.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the things, like you say, is all the drivers, they're all, they're getting closer and closer together, aren't they? Like they all perform pretty similar.
Yeah.
So I really do think you've got to get out and try them all.
Yeah.
Because one might suit you, one might suit me. That even if we swing the same and they produce similar launch conditions, like that, we might have just slightly different preferences.
But I think that is worth saying. Like you've made the point about how TaylorMade are obsessing about sort of delivery.
Yeah.
But if you go back, so when I was growing up and fitting just wasn't a thing, and you just walked into the pro shop and you picked up what you could afford, basically, or what happened to be there. there were clubs that you preferred over other clubs for reasons that you couldn't explain, and it was all a bit ethereal and a bit kind of happen chance. But that is because of the aerodynamics of a certain club, the look of a certain club is going to suit one person better. So even if you're not going for an in-depth custom fitting, you've got to go and try and hit a few and just eye test it and feel what feels good to you.
Definitely, yeah, 100%. Cool. I'll do.